There is a new Mercedes GLC for the 2023 model year, and some say that they can't see any differences in the design here. But come on, you can really tell the difference when you compare the old to the new, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to compare the 2020 GLC to the new one. I'm going to let you know what I think about it in the front, side, and rear, and then we need to talk about the new interior as well, because there are some changes there that I really don't understand why Mercedes did those. More on that later in the video. So the new GLC will only be available as the GLC 300, and this comes with a 258 horsepower turbo 4 and a 48 volt hybrid system and a plug-in hybrid, with AMG models coming a little later. So to start with, we only get the GLC 300, and those AMG models, as you know, will only have the same 4 cylinders that we have in the C43 and the C63. A lot of power, but you're definitely not gonna get that V8 AMG rumble that is synonymous with AMG. Unfortunately, I think that era is over. 0 to 60 though for the GLC 300, it's not bad. It goes around 6.2 seconds. Overall, the new GLC is in fact a larger vehicle than the outgoing model, but just by a little, not a lot at all. These styling changes are very subtle, but if you look, as I said, close enough, which I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to spot those changes. So let's have a look. Let's jump in here to Photoshop and let's have a look at the new Mercedes GLC. Up top we have the 2020 model, down here we have the 2023, and this is the AMG package right here. The AMG package gives you these Mercedes stars in the grille, as you can see. It gives you another front bumper. I'm going to show you both versions, the AMG package and the non-AMG as well, in this video from all angles. And of course, last but not least, we got to talk about the interior. So let's have a look at the original, or the 2020 right here. I really like this design. I think it's a clean design. We have these subtle lines all over the body. A really nice line flow in this design, going in from the lines that we have in the side that then connects to the graphic features that we have in the front end, and that's exactly what you want to see in a good car design. You want to see lines following the front into the side and also then into the rear. As you know, we want to have this at least 1 or 2 continuous lines around the car that goes all around. It kind of ties everything together, and we do have that with the Mercedes GLC, the previous generation. So what I want to show you here is, for example, the grille has changed. As you can see, this is a different grille on the 2020 model. The headlights are completely new, and everything, the front end is completely new as well. The proportions of this are in fact new. You have new proportions. It is a little bigger than the old one, the new one, but not by much. The shoulder line also changed. I'm going to show you that in a side view and then let you know what I think, which one I prefer of the GLC generations. Moving down to the new one right here, you can see, comparing this headlight right here to the new one got a lot sleeker and now also connects with the grille. So we have this connection from the headlight going into the grille right there, which I think looks pretty good. However, when I first saw the new GLC 2023 model, I think it looks too much graphically like the EQ lineup, which are of course the Mercedes EV lineup. I think they should separate the graphics a bit more from the EQ going into the normal internal combustion engines than we have right here. This looks like it could sit on the EQC, for example, but as I'm going to show you in the side view, the proportions are definitely not EV proportions, which I really like. We still have the same kind of lines in the hood like we have in the previous generation. Very beautifully done. 4 lines in the hood. The grille, as I said, also new. The framing of the grille is new. A little less complicated maybe than this, but here we have this subtle smile in the grille, but now we have what we have in the new C-Class as well, this upside down grille, which they kind of just flipped the smile upside down and created the new grille for the Mercedes GLC right here. So this is, as I showed you, the AMG package, and right here is the non-AMG package. And just like with the BMW X1, I think I prefer the non-AMG package here. And we have, of course, kittens. You know how it is. Kittens fighting in this office in every video from now on. Just get used to it if you hear some noises in the background. But anyway, the non-AMG package, I think it looks cleaner. It has less stuff going on in the, specifically the lower part right here. I'm not a huge fan of how this is treated because there are too many thicknesses in this. Then we have this black line right here. So I definitely prefer the non-AMG package, but I do not prefer this chrome. If I can have the non-GMA with this blacked out, then that would be the optimal GLC for me. I want to know which one you prefer. Do you prefer the AMG package or the non-AMG, and why? Let me know why in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Let's have a look at the side view real quick. This is again the AMG package down here and the old 2020 up here. This is where it gets interesting. You can't really tell from this side view of the new 2023 model, but what we have is a brand new shoulder line. So look at this beautiful, gorgeous shoulder that we have on the 2020 model. It kind of fades out into this surface, right into the, as you know, the corner of the taillight, a detail that I love on cars. And then we have this line down here, which wraps around from the front end, going into the side and then into the bumper, and of course around on the other side as well. So two lines that goes the entire length of the car. It's a beautiful design, the GLC, the previous generation. The new one looks good as well, but I'm not sure if it looks as good as the old one. And I'm gonna have a surprise for you at the end and let you know which GLC I actually prefer. I'm gonna let you know in the end of this video. Let's have a look at the greenhouse. The greenhouse has also changed. A clean line, you know, this curvature is very typical Mercedes to have a bit of a curvature that follows the same line as the shoulder line. It is a beautiful design, very simple graphics or framing of the greenhouse. In the new one, we have a bit of a different approach. We still have this gorgeous line in the bottom, but as you can see, it doesn't really go into the bumper, at least not on the AMG package. We're gonna see if it does that in the non-AMG. And then we have the shoulder line still stretching out from the corner of the taillight, but now it kind of fades away, so we don't have a shoulder line right here. And then it comes back here in a sharp shoulder again and kind of going into the front end. So it is more of an Audi implementation of the shoulder line. If you look at for example, the Audi A5 or the RS5, they have this. And Audi is specifically known for having this type of shoulder line to emphasize the Quattro four-wheel drive system. That's in their design DNA book. When you design an Audi, they have it in there to have two separate shoulder lines like this, and we kind of have the same situation right here. And then we have this greenhouse now have a bit of an upswing in the rear end, so it has a bit of an up curvature to it, but the top looks pretty much identical as the old 2020 GLC up there. It is still a beautiful design, although they added a bit more complexity in some of the key lines, as you can see right here. Let's have a look at the rear view, and then last but not least, the interior, and then the surprise of this video, which I'm looking forward to letting you know about. I forgot to show you the non-AMG version right here, which looks like this. And here you can see that the big difference between the non-AMG and the AMG is that we have this piece right here being body colored, just like we have on the BMW, as I showed you in the X1 video as well. And it kind of makes it look a little heavier, in my opinion. It makes this surface a little too high, so that's another reason why I prefer the non-AMG. Why do I keep saying GMA? I mean AMG, obviously, because this has now black plastic cladding around here, which reduces the visual height, specifically in this area, and I prefer that. Now let's jump into the rear view here. So here we have the 2020 model and the AMG 2023. And same thing here, it kind of has very subtle changes, but I think if this is the view that you're definitely going to be able to tell a difference between these two generations, because looking at the taillights, they look a lot more thicker than they do on the 2023 model down here. A lot slimmer, reminded me a bit of the EQE. And the C-Class, of course, and the EQS. This seems to be an implementation across the lineup of Mercedes, which I think looks pretty good. I wish it had maybe a little more thickness or a little more design elements inside of it instead of just two simple LEDs like this. But simplicity is sometimes also a very good thing. Here you can see what I'm talking about, the shoulder line. We have this line going here, and then it fades away right here and comes back very Audi-esque, specifically if you just focus on this area right here. If we just look at this, I would look think and look at this surface, I would think this would be an Audi because of this fading shoulder line in the front end. But now Mercedes is doing something similar, which is pretty cool, I guess. And then here we have the lower diffuser of the GLC. AMG looks clean, but the non-AMG looks a little more complex, as you can see. More chrome, which I'm not, the biggest fan of, but I still think that this looks better as an SUV. If it's going to be an SUV, I want to have it be more angled towards SUV functionality, meaning a little more rugged looking, a little more off-road looking, and not so sporty. Because if I want a sports car, I would buy the C-Class. So that's also another reason why I prefer the non-AMG version in the rear end. Last but not least, we need to talk about this interior because there are some crazy stuff going on here. For example, this is the 2020 up here, and then we have the 2023. So a couple of things. We have these air outlets. The vents are now moved up to this point in the new one. As you can see, they have a different design to them. I really like these materials that we have here. It's a beautiful sculpture of a center dash, and I kinda like that they have an iPad here, but it's not connected to the infotainment system. So these are two different screens here, and they're about, I think they were about 14 inch, both of them around 13 to 14 inch. But the thing with the center screen here is that you can see it's just slightly tilted towards the driver, just barely tilted. And when a big feature like this is just slightly something, it kind of makes me wonder, is it supposed to be like that? Or is it just, a manufacturing flaw or something? That's what I'm thinking when I see something that is just so minimally changed from being symmetrical or centered. So what I would want to do, this would probably annoy me if I was sitting inside of this car, because I would want to fix it to be either centered or more angled, not this hesitant in between. It doesn't know. Do you want to be angled towards the driver, or do you want to be centered? Here it just looks like it doesn't know what it wants to do. So this is one thing that is kind of annoying, at least for me, being a bit OCD with this non-centered display. In the old one, it was actually centered. The second thing is, in the new one, they actually removed pretty much all dials, all physical dials and knobs, even for the volume control. And I think that's a big mistake. At least keep the volume knob being a physical button. You don't want to go in and mess with a touchpad when you're driving and want to adjust your volume. It's just not a very safe, and it's not a very fast option to have a touchscreen for the volume knob. And they also removed the knobs and buttons for the climate control, which is also another thing that I would want to. Those are the only two functions that I would ask that manufacturers keep as physical or tactile knobs and buttons. The surprise that I have for you is, which one of these do I actually prefer when it comes to the GLC? Well, I think I prefer the previous generation, because the 2020, because I think it looks more solid, specifically in the rear end. But if I could pick any GLC, I would go for the 2016 model, because I think that is the best looking GLC to date. And here it is. I just love the graphics. I love the stance of this, the wheels, the proportions. It has beefier graphics both in the front and in the rear, as you can see right here. It feels solid, it feels planted, and these are some of my favorite stock wheels on a crossover SUV are these specific wheels that sit on the Mercedes GLC. So if it was me, I would just buy a used 2016 GLC and be very happy with that design. Let me know which one you would pick. Which GLC would you choose between these? Let's take all three, the 2016, 2020, or the 2023. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.